So the next talk is particularly relevant to anyone who's done a dissertation or has done a project, a summer project in a lab, or just something at home which they've come up with. So they've submitted a project to Youth STEM Matters, which is led by Connie and Lucy Mbochi. So Lucy is a third-year chemistry student who loves to binge-watch true crime documentaries and forensic specials. She loves all things chemistry, especially in organic and analytical chemistry. In the unlikely event that she's not at church studying or watching TV, she can be found cooking, reading, or hanging out with friends and family. Lucy is also our physical sciences editor for chemistry at Youth STEM Matters. Connie is a 19-year-old Portuguese Hong Kong majoring in biomedical engineering at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. She is passionate about STEM, youth, and volunteering, and is active in the internet governance field with organising initiatives and UN IGF workshops. She hopes to create various sustainable approaches and opportunities for youths through research, innovation, and volunteering in STEM and internet governance. And Connie is our managing editor for physical sciences. So without further ado, please go ahead. There will be a Q&A following straight after as well.
All right, thank you, Adam. So hello, everyone. Buenos dias. Welcome to the next session of Youth STEM Matters Research Conference. We hope you have enjoyed the conference so far, and we are really excited to be here to speaking to you all. With Youth STEM Matters being a platform for young scientists to share the research, ideas, and innovations for maximum impact, in this session, we'll be sharing with you on how you can submit a project to Youth STEM Matters. So before we carry on, let us reintroduce ourselves a bit. My name is Connie. I'm the Physical Sciences Managing Editor at Youth STEM Matters and a Year 2 Biomedical Engineering undergraduate at the Chinese University of Hong Kong.
I'm Lucy. I'm the Physical Sciences Editor with a focus in chemistry and also a third-year undergraduate at the University of St. Andrews. So now, let's start with an overview of the scientific process as a whole. If you've conducted a cool experiment in a science fair, a project for school, a university, or just personal interest, then you may be familiar with reading literature based on your area of interest, then formulating a hypothesis in which you then test in one way or another, whether through a primary investigation or an evaluation of pre-existing data. Following from that, you have your research and your hypothesis. What's next? Communication, the blue stage. This involves you sharing and discussing the findings with other scientists, like in the science fair I mentioned earlier, or at a conference, whatever the platform is. And once that is done, you get a round of applause for your great work and it ends there. Or does it? The third stage is where Youth STEM Matters comes in. We give you a platform to communicate your findings to the wider public and scientific community. We provide a platform for your work to be read, and we're strictly youth-oriented, 22 and under, to provide young people the guidance they need so they know where to start. In Youth STEM Matters, we help you with the blue and red stages, and today, Connie and I will particularly dissect what submission looks like and why you should do it with Youth STEM Matters. We hope this drives you to consider writing about your findings and sharing them. We are the people of tomorrow, and it's incredibly important that we help each other as scientists to build a better society and shape the progression of scientific discoveries.
Now that Lucy has gone through the scientific process, I'll briefly go through the peer review process with you all. Peer review is essentially a crucial part of the third stage of the cycle, and it is a process by which projects are submitted for publication and are reviewed for comment and evaluation. The author, who is you, first submits a project to Youth STEM Matters, then our editors go through initial checks and blind it for review. We use a double-blind peer review system, meaning that our reviewers won't know any personal information of the authors and vice versa, to reduce any potential bias that could arise, and reviewers could give honest and constructive feedback without fear of backlash. Then reviewers submit their suggestions to the editor, and a decision is made based on those suggestions, which could be reject, revise and resubmit, or accept. Most of the time, the decision is revise and resubmit in order to have the best quality at the end of the process. This process could take several months. Some of that time is with us, including time for reviewers to review the project and time to make a decision, while some of that time is with you, the authors, including time to revise your project based on the suggestions given and resubmitting. With the peer review, our aim is to ensure your projects are scientifically accurate and to make them the best they can be.
So Connie has talked about the peer review process, so now I'll dissect what the responsibilities of our reviewers are and why they're so important. They're avid STEM enthusiasts, like we all are, who have undergone extensive training on how to review research and review articles. They read, reread, research, and evaluate your article to provide constructive, detailed feedback. As experts, they spend long hours and work really hard, and some of you may know being reviewers yourselves. So here's an example of a section of a review. As you read it, you'll notice the reviewer is not just pointing out areas of improvement, they're praising it too. Constructive criticism does not need to be purely critical. It includes praise and recognition where it's due. The feedback will be detailed on any major and minor issues present, as we all have the same goal: help your article be the best it can be and share it with the world.
With our research team of reviewers and editors, we accept two main types of submissions, namely original research and review article. So what's the difference? Original research include your new experiments, investigations, inventions, discoveries, you name it, while review articles summarize the existing understanding of a specific topic, at the same time include new insights and, most importantly, your evaluation and analysis. We also provide you with a guide for each type of submission, which includes writing style and a detailed description for each section of the submission. So this could speed up the process of the peer review process I mentioned earlier, and your submission could have a higher chance of being published. So here's an example original research article we have published in New STEM Matters, which was managed by our Life Sciences department and is written by a 16-year-old student in Hawaii in the States. And here is an example review article we have published here, which was managed by the Physical Sciences department, including Lucy and myself. For both original research and review article, the initial submissions looked very different from the final products after going through the peer review process.
Now that we've seen some of the articles we've published, here's some exciting news that could apply to yours. We're part of CrossRef. You may be wondering, who, what, why is this relevant to me? Being a member of CrossRef means that the original research and review articles that USTEM Matters publishes will be assigned a DOI, which provides a permanent link to your research that is stored in a global database of scientific publications. Our authors now have a louder voice within the scientific community, as having a DOI number makes them easier to find, typically results in greater visibility, makes them easier to cite. Let's show you what this could look like on the articles we've published. So these are the articles that Connie showed earlier, and as you can see, the DOI of each article is under the author's name. This is what your articles will look like should you choose to submit them and they get published. How exciting is that? Not only can your article now be cited, but it can be accessed by a wider community, and therefore your research can be shared and inspire others. Now let's talk about what to expect during this process.
So what can you expect from us? Well, this diagram is an illustration of how our publishing process works at USTEM Matters, just as I described in the beginning. You submit, we'll do the initial checks, and if successful, your project goes into peer review, and finally, an editorial decision will be made. Our reviewers will provide detailed feedback to guide you and highlight any inconsistencies. And throughout the process, you can always communicate with us regarding any questions or issues. Our editors are here to guide you throughout and keep you updated on the progress of your project. So this is very much an ongoing collaborative process between you and us with the same goal, which is giving your project a platform. And what do we expect from you? Your project should meet these 3 requirements. 1, it should be created when you were aged 22 or under in the last 3 years, if you're not younger than 22. 2, it should be STEM-based. And 3, it should be linked to at least 1 SDG. And this is important because our vision as a journal is based on the Sustainable Development Goals, which is to reduce inequalities and increase sustainable global growth, all while preserving our beautiful planet. And once your project has met these criteria, you're good to submit. But your role doesn't end there. You have to actively participate throughout the peer review process, as well as communicate with us, including what you're feeling and if you would like more support. We do not expect you to have a lot of experience, so that's what we're here for, to help support your project so it can reach its greatest potential.
After hearing all of this, you might wonder, why publish at USTEM Matters? To sum it up, with USTEM Matters being a CrossRef member and a part of the United Nations SDG Publishers Compact, we will increase your project's real-world impact and showcase it to our global audience via different channels. This would also enhance your CV with you having an official publication, help you build scientific and communication skills through our review process, and allow you to join a community of youth changemakers throughout your journey with us at USTEM Matters.
And finally, here are the concrete steps you have to take to submit your project. Firstly, format your project according to the submission guides so that we could reduce the back and forth before the peer review for issues such as lacking a section or any key information. Secondly, read our ethics policy. Our ethics policy is a best practice policy with the aim to foster an ethical research culture among young researchers like you all. And thirdly, complete your author checklist, which is based on the submission guidelines. And finally, click on this blue button to submit your project to Scholastica. And there you have it. Scholastica acts as a platform for you to keep track of the peer review process, including reading reviews and communicating with the team. And while there is a submission fee of $30, if the cost would be a barrier to your submission, you could always get in contact with us, as we don't want you to miss out on this opportunity solely due to financial reasons. And lastly, if you're aged 12 or under and have a project you'd like to show the world, we'd be more than happy for you to submit your project, but your parent or guardian should help submit and communicate with the team on your behalf.
Thank you all for attending and for your attention. This was an overview of the scientific process entails, how your project will be reviewed, and what the next steps will be following the submission, should you wish to do so. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference and feel free to ask us any questions. Follow us on all the social media for exciting updates.
Great. Thank you, Connie and Lucy, so much for that really informative talk. Please do ask your questions in the Q&A function, and we'll go through them. We have a good amount of time allocated for the questions. So also worth noting, if you are an affiliate or looking to be an affiliate of Youth STEM Matters, so if you're representing an organization or a university or a school, etc., there is a parallel session happening now in the sessions tab on the left-hand corner in the menu bar. It will be an opportunity to understand what it means to be an affiliate with Youth STEM Matters and so forth. So please do head to that if that is appropriate. If not, we'll begin with some of the questions that you guys are asking. Please ask any question about how big or small. I guess one of the questions we could ask is, obviously we charge $30 for the submission fee. Could you sort of go over why we do that?
Okay, so for the submission fee, we require a fee of $30. It's because we need this fee to run the journal. But then if, like I said, if you have any financial reasons or financial capabilities that you require financial assistance, we'd be more than happy to assist you in that so that you can submit your project to us. And we can help, we can see and work out things, and we could help publish your project.
I guess it's really important to note as well, we don't make any profit from the submission fee. So it all goes towards the cost of Scholastica, the DOI numbers, plagiarism checkers, and so forth. So let's say if someone has an incomplete project, what support would they get from you guys in terms of those initial stages before peer review?
Well, we can provide guidance such as during the initial checks, we can look through it before it gets to peer review, and we can feedback that back to you, that you know what we believe could help assist, or what other data you might require, what other guidance, etc. Then once you submit that and it goes through peer review, you get very detailed feedback from our reviewers, and then from there we can go on to publish it should it pass through peer review successfully.
So we got a question from someone. Can we submit a project that isn't finished yet or is in the last few stages of completion?
All right, so just as Lucy mentioned, so if a project isn't finished, you are more than happy to submit it to us, and we could, via our feedback and via the peer review process, we could help you, give you suggestions on how you could complete it. But the most important thing is that for you to have those sections within your project first, so that it could pass the initial checks, and then we could go on to give you further suggestions for you to improve and better your project. So the answer is yes, you can submit a project that isn't finished yet, and we'll do our best to help you make it the best it can be.
So could you guys perhaps tell us a bit about your experience as obviously Connie managing editor for USTEM Masses and Lucy as editor, in terms of how you, from your side, working with the authors and getting the papers out there, and also how long it takes to get a paper from start to publish?
I think I can start first then. So before I became the managing editor for physical sciences, I was actually an editor for physical sciences for around half a year, and which is Lucy's position right now. And currently, as managing editor, I lead a team of editors and reviewers in physical sciences subject areas such as like physics, chemistry, mathematics, etc. And I also am responsible for making initial decisions on papers submitted and also the final decisions of papers before sending it to copy editing and then publishing. And the experience has been very nice because throughout the process from being an editor to a managing editor, I've learned a lot. For example, scientific skills and also communication skills, definitely. And especially here in Hong Kong, we don't really promote such sort of publishing research articles, and not to mention you publishing these sort of projects. And so getting to know this was actually an eye-opening experience for me, and I've really learned a lot here at USTEM Matters, and I'm actually very grateful for this opportunity.
So for me, I've been with the journal for about a year now, and I started as a reviewer for about 8 months before I became an editor, as Connie just said. And it helped me grow a lot, especially when you start as a reviewer. I had never had any experience with, publishing in general, so I learned a lot, picked up a lot, got a lot of feedback. And as an editor, my role changed a lot, so I got to interact with authors this time, which has still helped me grow, and I still continue to grow. So it's so interesting to be exposed to different research, different papers, people from all kinds of backgrounds, ages, and we're all youth. So it's really inspiring to see people publish research they're so passionate about, things I may have never considered. So that's why we strongly encourage you guys to do the same, because we can all help each other grow by learning from each other. So yeah, that's how I found it. I love it.
I have just received a question in the chat on how long would a project normally be, like word count. For a project, it really what really matters is that you have all the necessary sessions and you have appropriate references towards your content so that it could support what your claims and also your paragraphs more strongly. And we don't really have a specific word count, I would say, but then most importantly is that you have sufficient content to support your claim, and that is the key thing. And also have all the key sessions, for example, introduction, abstract, and then discussion. All of these sections should be there. So as long as your content is good enough to support your claim, then it would be good enough. It doesn't have to be really long, or there isn't really any limit to that.
Yeah, so I think you answered the next question in terms of how long would a project normally be in terms of word count. There is no we don't have a restriction on word counts, nor does that mean you have to write loads, and you can get away with writing quite a nice concise paper that is submitted. It also, in terms of length as well, Connie and Lucy have said this a lot, but it depends on you as the author as to how much you put in, as to how fast the process will go. So our first research paper was published within a matter of 3-4 months because the author was really proactive with getting things done. So yeah, the next question is can you submit a project that has something to do with dentistry? I mean, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any sort of STEM field is more than welcome. I guess, right, so the next question is, how do I find something I'm interested in? So I guess it's the pre-research and review paper writing up. Connie, Lucy?
Reading, that's something I would strongly recommend. If it's not reading, could be watching conferences, even YouTube videos in general. You should like exposing yourself and looking for sources of, different STEM fields, looking at what are they publishing, what's being discovered today, what's being researched today. And whatever you find most intriguing might be the path you should go down. But yeah, there's something for everyone.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of our authors, they're taking topics which you wouldn't necessarily think of, but actually are really applicable. And it's just a matter of questioning everything. Like Lucy said, reading a lot really matters here. I don't know if there's any more questions from anyone. If not, then any last minute remarks, Connie and Lucy, about anything at all?
I guess my final remarks would be, if you have a project related to STEM and you would like to make a difference in the world, whether be it a small difference or a large difference, I think submitting a project to us and making your project, exposing it to the world, would be a huge step to take, and it would be a beginning for you to step out into the world and to try and make a difference. So I think Lucy and I would both highly encourage you all to try to submit your projects. It doesn't matter whether it's completed or not, as long as you have the passion and also you have the determination to make your project, your ideas, spread it to the world, then we're here to help you to achieve that by giving you a platform and helping you to make it the best it can be.
Great, that's a really lovely summary, Connie. Thank you for that. So we're going to go a bit early on break now. So we will come back at 16:20 BST, so in approximately 11 minutes' time. Please do go check out the expo booths of our sponsors, the University of Aberdeen, RSK, and the James Hutton Institute, as well as our young people who have put a lot of time and effort in producing their work. And thank you everyone for attending this one.